everyone, this is Jan with What You Make It, and I am coming to the end of my goodies from my Bella Vita scrapbooking kit, and I've had the most fun putting projects together. I was very honored for them to ask me to be their March guest designer, and I hope that we will get to work together again because they're just a lot of fun and I love these kits. But I thought I would share with you when I'm down to the last few bits of a kit, before I put everything away, and I go ahead and make a few cards because you already have all the color coordination done. You may have some extra brads, and I find that when I stop working on a project, these begin to be, I just forget that I have them. So it's better for me to use them now. And while I have everything out, I can just throw a couple cards together because we always know we're going to need something. So what I've done is I've cut some die cuts that I'm going to stamp. And when you're down to these kind of things, even if you're not going to make a card right now, but you have a favorite stamp or a die, I would go ahead and just cut some extras, have them waiting in the wings when you need them. We're going to begin with a standard A2 size card, and it's going to be portrait oriented, and I'm marking it for scoring at 5.5 inches. But before I actually start working on the card, I'm going to trim off 3/4 of an inch on the front panel of the card. I really loved this honeycomb paper, and I thought, oh, how cool to maybe use just a little piece of it down at the end and have that as a decorative element down there. So you could do the same sort of look if you wanted to use an edge punch, if the pattern paper that you were using didn't already have this really nice design in it that you could follow. So you go ahead and you score it and use your bone folder to get a good crisp edge. Add some adhesive to the top edge of your little decorative piece. Line up its edge with the back edge of your card. And then when you put the front flap down, it's going to ensure that it is even. Nice little trick there. So let's go ahead and do some stamping. Now I am using these two pink flowers that I'm going to use as decorative elements, but on the lighter pink one I'm using a little bit lighter ink, and on the darker one I'm going to use a little bit darker pink. Doing this tone on tone really does kind of help them blend together, and it also gives you a look like maybe this was a die cut that came with your pattern paper. When you use ink that is in the same color family, that helps with that the perception of the viewer. So I've done both of those, and now I'm going to stamp a background. And so I have a text stamp, and I ink it up, and this is a great way to just add some visual texture without adding too much that will be distracting. If you use a stamp over and over and you're trying to get, you have too wide of a stamp to fill the spot, you can do some selective stamping by cleaning your stamp really well, putting down a piece of tape to cover the part that you do not want to be inked, then inking up your stamp and pulling the tape off, and you now will be able to stamp it in the space that you want it to be stamped without getting any extra ink on there. Just a fun little tip. I am always finding myself in a tough place trying to get my stamps to fit. So I decided not to use the die cut leaves. I thought it might actually be a more powerful visual to actually stamp the leaves on that background so that you got some of that texture from the text stamp there. And so I'm eyeballing it. I put the flowers where I think they're going to be, and then move them out of the way as soon as I figured out where I want the leaves to go. Just helps with your composition, and you can kind of see what the final thing is going to look like, and know whether you want to add a little something extra or not. Now these stamps are from a different floral set. I liked that they were solid. The other leaves that went with this from this stamp set, which is called Friends Till the End, it's a paper tray ink stamp set, they were outline stamps, and I didn't really want to color them in. I wanted that solid, so I just went and found some leaves in a stamp set that would give me that solid coverage. So now I'm looking at them and I'm realizing I think what I want to do is I want to pop them up, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment and do a little decorating on the inside. This Friends Till the End stamp set has some really great friend sayings, and I like how it incorporates two different fonts here. You can fill in the blank with what would I do, and that's the one stamp, and then the without you. Without is the other one. I love how they work together. So I took the smaller floral stamp and some ink in the same color as my background and just did a little bit of decorative stamping. Now, because these are stamped and they're not actually a piece of die cut from the kit, one of the things that you can do to give them a little bit more dimension is to take your markers. I'm using Copic markers, and I've just matched the ink color to kind of the ink color that I used to stamp them. And I'm just going in and doing a little bit of shading now with BV00. A blue violet color rather than gray actually gives you a better shaded look. Now I'm just going around the edge, and anywhere where there was a little bit of extra space around the outline between the die cut and the stamp, I'm just adding a little bit of that blue violet in there, and that gives it a little more shading. Now I did the same thing over here on the other one. I think I'm using R89 because it seemed to blend pretty well. And again, I go in with that BV00 and color just the edges. I'm going to pop these up on some pop dots, and I am going to let it hang over the side just a little bit, not so much that it won't fit into an envelope. On the one side, I have 2 layers of dimensionals and then one just where it's going to touch the other flower. Keeps it even. Put a few little enamel dots. I so love these things. I'm telling you, I think I could put them on everything right now. But just kind of match the colors. And the last thing I wanted to do was add just a little bit of white into the center. And you saw my little trick. If my ink pen is not doing what I want it to do, I run it on my finger first. I have had so much fun with this Bella Vita kit. I think they still have a couple of them if you want to go try and get one. Thank you to the girls for letting me work with the kit this month, and be sure and save some time for creative play and come back. We'll have another project again soon.